Hey guys, this is Joe here. I'm an insurance professional here in Texas. I've been selling insurance in Texas for over 20 years, and I thought I'd answer a question for you today that I get asked a lot. And the question is, what is the right amount of coverage for my house? So if you own a home or you're in the process of buying a home, you need homeowners insurance, and hopefully you're getting a policy with replacement cost coverage. That's really important. But a lot of people are unsure or they're confused about the actual dwelling coverage amount. And so I'm going to break it down into a few points today and hopefully clear that up. So first, your home replacement cost amount is usually not the same as your home's market value. The amount that your home can be bought or sold for is usually way different the amount that it would cost to rebuild it. For example, if you're buying a house and the land is worth $300,000, but the house it's sitting on is only worth $200,000. You're paying $500,000 for this house, but if the house were to burn down, it's not going to cost $500,000 to rebuild that same house. It's probably going to cost closer to that $200,000 figure. Quite often I'll get a client that's buying a brand new home, and their expectations are that the construction, replacement costs that they would need is similar to what they're buying this brand new house for, since it's a brand new construction. However, that's not always the case, and for two reasons. First, when a neighborhood is being built, construction companies are able to actually discount the rates for all the labor and materials since they're building so many homes all at once. But if your house burns to the ground though, and it's the only house being damaged out of your entire neighborhood, those same discounted rates are not going to be available for just one house to be built, and that's why it could be different. Also, the software being used to calculate these replacement cost coverages for all of your homes, it's based on average construction cost for your area. So the construction company you're using could be priced higher or lower than the average for that market area, and that's why using the average figure is going to be what the insurance companies want to use, because that's the safest figure to use, because you don't know who's going to be doing the work later on when you do have to get your home replaced. When it comes to actually calculating that replacement cost, each insurance company has their own software for that, and it's not always the same. So from two different insurance companies quoting the same exact house, they may come up with two different figures because they're using different software. And for that reason, we get a lot of people, scratching their heads, not wondering where these figures are coming from. But it basically comes down to how much information is really going into these calculations. Some softwares are going to have a lot of detail. Some software is only going to have basics in there, and those companies that use the basic information, they're going to round their coverage amounts anyway up to the nearest 1,000 or the nearest 10,000, sometimes the nearest 100,000, in order to be safe, as far as, because they don't have a lot of details in their calculation. Another thing is these calculations are always going to be changing. Every single year, these figures are going to be different. I get a lot of questions from customers saying, well, why is my dwelling coverage higher this year than it was last year? I didn't do anything different. My house is the same house. The market value didn't change. That's what I get a lot. But the simple answer to that question is inflation. As the cost of everything else goes up, so does construction costs. And to make sure your policy still has replacement cost coverage, the dwelling coverage needs to be adjusted at least once a year. So my advice is always just to play it safe and give yourself some wiggle room. Most insurance companies have an additional endorsement that you can put on your policy called either extended dwelling protection or maybe called additional coverage A. They may call it that. But basically, it's an endorsement you can put on there that gives your policy an additional percentage of your dwelling coverage on top of what is already insured for. So, for instance, if you have a 25% additional dwelling coverage endorsement on there, and your house is insured for $100,000, this would give you an extra $25,000 on top of that, in case either the calculation was off to begin with, or if there's some sort of weird inflation that happens in the middle of the year. There's a big catastrophe in your neighborhood, and all the homes have to be replaced. So all the construction companies are raising their rates in order to handle the workload. If that kind of thing happens, this extra 25% is there to boost up your limit in those weird scenarios. Usually those endorsements are pretty cheap. I've seen those as cheap as $25 a year. I've seen them as high as like $70 or $80 a year, depending on which company you're looking at and what your coverage amounts are. But it's definitely worth having on there just to be safe. Now, my final tip for the day is that if your home info is not handy, or if you don't have it like online, easy to access, or if you don't know it off the top of your head, it'd be a really good idea to get that information together and have it on paper, have it ready for your insurance agent, so that as soon as you are ready to go into these conversations about your home insurance, either whether it's for a renewal or if you're shopping for new quotes, it'd be easier just to have that information ready to send to your insurance agent either by email or fax. Now, if you're watching this video on smartcupofjoe.com, you'll see I've added a PDF attachment that will walk you through all the questions that your insurance agent is going to have in order to calculate that replacement cost for you. Feel free to download the PDF. It'll walk you through a couple pages real quick, and it'll go through all the details of your home square footage, number of stories, bathrooms, and all that stuff. And if you don't feel comfortable answering all that stuff, or if you don't know the correct information to put on there, another good way of doing it is just take pictures. Outside pictures of your house, inside pictures of your house. All that stuff is going to have most of the information that you're going to need for your agent to accurately come up with these calculations for you anyway. But that usually will cover most of the gaps in information that they're going to need. So anyway, I really hope this information helps somebody else out there. But feel free to reach out to me, or if you have any questions or anything else. Thanks for watching.